What's up, YouTube? On this episode of Coddiwomple Overland, we're going to be exploring the New River Gorge in West Virginia. Coddiwomple Overland is proudly powered by Cummins Off-road, home of the Lifetime powertrain. Also in part by Overland Vehicle Systems, Faster Flate, and Trail-Rated Coffee. Be sure to come out and say hi to us at the Moore Expo, April 8th through the 10th in Springfield, Missouri. If you're looking to support our channel, you can find all of our apparel at Long Creek Overland. Sometimes you find yourself wanting to get away, but you don't have a whole lot of time, so you get up early in the morning and make your way on a day-long adventure. For us, it doesn't always have to be this grand off-road adventure. Sometimes it may be as simple as getting out for just a road trip and seeing what kind of history you can find. For today's trip, we made our way up towards the New River Gorge in West Virginia. This area is full of history and also a lot of natural wonders. This memorial site marks some of the graves of the folks that died during the tunnel building between the New River and the Gauley River. Next, we hit the windy back roads of West Virginia to make our way towards the Babcock State Park.
Campground, isn't it?
Main entrance. This park is most known for its amazing waterfalls and incredible grist mill. After leaving Babcock State Park, it was time to make our way to the southern end of the nation's newest national park, and that's the New River Gorge. And you know we couldn't just stay on the blacktop or the main roads to make our way to this location. We had to find a little back roads and dirt. One of the attractions at the south end of the park is the Sandstone Falls. You can actually see this from two really neat different locations. One from high up onto the hill, and then the other one is right down next to the water, and we'll get there soon.
What are you doing out here? You need to go home.
If you know, you know, and if you don't, Deb's always trying to take care of animals. After Deb tried to talk the goat into going home, we found ourselves in the beautiful and historic Hinton, West Virginia. This town was established in the 1870s, and its major claim to fame was a major fueling stop for the C&O Railroad. After a quick tour of Hinton, grabbing something to eat, we made our way downstream of the New River. Just a few miles downstream from Hinton, we found Sandstone Falls. The Sandstone Falls is the largest waterfall along the New River. It spans all the way across the river, and at this point here it's 1,500 feet wide. These falls normally drop anywhere from 10 to 15 feet, depending on the weather and the flow. Just below the falls, we found another road that was a little less traveled. That gravel road didn't last very long. It was only a short section of blacktop before we would make our way to the trail that we were really looking for along the New River. This section of road or trail is McKendree Road, and it actually takes you from the town of Prince, West Virginia, down to the Thurmond Historical District. About 4.5 miles from Prince, some of the literature says that you can actually see some remnants of the original McKendree Hospital that served the coal miners in this area around the early 1900s. We were not so fortunate to find those remains, but we did find several other old structures and foundations along the way. This is definitely not a road that you want to ride wide open on. There's a lot of scenic beauty, and there are several places where the roadway is starting to give away.
That could be narrow, couldn't it?
Could be.
You got room over here as far as, I don't know the back now.
At about midway of this road, you run into the old coal camp of Thayer. Just like many other areas in the early 1900s, Thayer was a very bustling coal camp town. Now it is home to one of the national park's designated campgrounds.
There's chickens.
This is day use area.
So you walk across that bridge.
Yeah, there's a campsite right over there. See it?
Yeah.
As you make your way on downstream from Thayer, you can find a lot of old remnants and ruins from buildings and houses and other structures that were along this riverbank. There are a few little pull-offs that you can go down next to the railroad tracks and find some other unique features, such as this old coal loadout here.
It just goes down there and stops.
As we drove across the Stone Cliff Bridge, we decided to turn left at the end of it and go check out the campground. Stone Cliff is another tent-only campsite, and the tent-only doesn't mean the one on your roof. Just like several of the other campgrounds along the river, you have to park and then walk into your campsites. Before we left this beautiful area, we had to stop and take a few pictures. Our next stop was the ghost town of Thurmond.
That'd be weird if a train was coming across at the same time. Why does it make making noises like that.
Thurmond was another coal and river town that was fueled by the C&O Railroad. In its heyday, it had 2 banks, 2 hotels, stores, a cinema, and several office buildings, along with a 3-story commercial row. It is said in 1910 alone, 75,000 passengers passed through Thurmond by way of these rails. Today, the census of Thurmond only has a population of 5 people. As we made our way out of town, just like so many other people had, you could almost hear the trains. As we left Thurmond, we made our way back up out of the gorge along this twisty, windy road that takes you toward the area of Glen Jean.
It's okay.
After making our way through Glen Jean, we found ourselves on the most famous bridge in the New River Gorge. After we made our way across it, we hopped on the road that takes you down into the gorge and across the old bridge down below.
It's kind of begin one way.
The New River Gorge Bridge is the longest single-span steel arch bridge in the United States, and it's only number 2 in the world, following one in China. It's also the 3rd highest bridge in our country. The bridge towers 876 feet above the New River. Every fall since 1980, they've closed one side of the bridge for what they call Bridge Day, and this is where base jumpers from all around the world come to jump off of the bridge. As we made it all the way down to the bottom, we went ahead and crossed the original bridge that crossed the New River. Just beyond the bridge, there's a pull-off for the Fayette Station Rapids. We stopped there to check out the last big rapids. These are the last ones that you hit before you get out of the river when you're whitewater rafting here. Once we left Fayette Station, we started making our way on home. We hope you've enjoyed this trip along the New River Gorge in West Virginia with us. Sometimes all it takes is a day to unwind, decompress, and just get back to yourself. Even though you may not have a full weekend or a week to get out in Overland, I encourage you just to get out and take a day. Sometimes you don't have to be off-roading, you don't have to be in the worst trails in the world. You just get out and enjoy yourself, like we did here today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, see ya.